But going into my season, like kind of like Chunt was just talking about the quarterback competition, I think Kalen DeBoer, being an offensive line coach, is going to have that figured out. I think offensive line, we had enough revamp. We had enough people leave that, you're not really questioning the offensive line as much. We had to change an offensive line coach. So for me, my main position of concern entering into the 2026 season is definitely going to be the inside linebackers. So if I can give you guys just some stats for just a second that I wrote down right here, I put that last year, Deontay Lawson, which was a three-year captain with Alabama, and then Justin Jefferson was a fifth-year senior, and Nakai Hill-Green are all leaving. Those were all our three main middle linebackers from last year. Deontay Lawson had 80 total tackles. Justin Jefferson had 79 total tackles, and Nakai Hill-Green had 54. Okay, and what that adds up to is 213 total tackles across our team for the inside linebackers. Now, for our entire team together, we only had 837. So just those three players, as the number 1, 2, and 4th highest total on the team, accounted for 1/4 of the entire tackles on the team. Okay? So I looked and I said, well, that's a lot of experience going out the window. That's a lot of experience leaving. So who are the guys coming back? So there's 5 guys that are returning. Do you know how many total tackles those 5 players that are returning to Alabama had combined? 25. 25 total tackles, game experience. Some of that is special teams.
Oh, my
It's on special teams. So there is a dramatic drop-off. I mean, that's what's giving me nightmares, brothers, all right? I'm sitting here at night like a Chihuahua dog. I don't know what to do. I'm scared to death. Amen?
You might as well strap the pads on and go help them play.
Right. I'm a little heavy right now. I'm a little heavy. I have to cut some weight. But no, but that is like what I'm most scared of. And I wrote down right here in my notes here that out of those 5 linebackers, so we also did get a transfer coming in. His name is Caleb Woodson. He's out of Virginia Tech now. He's a 6'3", 230-pound linebacker. He had only 58 total tackles. But you had Caden Jones coming back, QB Reese. Now, QB Reese is a kid that Deontay Lawson at the NFL Combine was really high on, saying that he could be that next leader, that next guy up, and was really giving him some praise about things he did last year that he thinks is going to elevate him this upcoming season. But, again, just the experience just not there. You have Duke Johnson, Abdul Sanders, and Luke Mintz. And Zay Hall is the only linebacker that came out of high school that's coming to Alabama. But, again, the experience just ain't there, guys. That's the biggest key I think we're all going to talk about tonight is experience. Yes. With all of our positions, I mean, the worrisome is the experience part because now, and we kind of talked about it last week, but with like Indiana and all these players that are like Ohio State the year before, if you think of one consistent theme with those teams was how old they were and how experienced they were and how much time they had on the job, as you'd say. That's the biggest difference now going into this type of football, this type of new era in college football that is really going to make or break you is just, can you get an experienced team? Can you get a team that has been together, that has meshed together? I think we had that last year, but there again, we ended up just at the Rose Bowl getting our doors blown off, So, I mean, that's what happened. But, and even last year, going into it, Deontay Lawson was thinking about leaving. Justin Jefferson was thinking about going. They both came back. So Kalen DeBoer was even asked about this earlier in the year last year. He said the position of concern I had was for our linebackers because I thought Deontay was gone. I thought Justin was gone. Well, now it's happened. Now they're gone. That leadership, the 2 alpha dogs that you had, they're gone. And I think back to a time in 2019. I don't know if you guys remember this or not. I mean, this is probably something only Bama fans would know. But in 2019, we had a returning linebacker, Dylan Moses, was real big. Yeah. He was big time now. But in summer and fall camp, he tore his ACL like 2 weeks before the season started. Well, in 2019, we actually started 2 true freshmen when we took on Duke that year. But you could see it. Through the season, you could tell that was like a big spot in the team that was like, man, you can just tell they're young. They got to learn this. You got to have time on the job. And that's where I feel like we're all this year. I feel like we're in the same boat of man, they got to have time on the job to get this job done. But I think they're going to have a lot of people in their corner. I mean, you think back to some Alabama greats like Deontay Hightower, C.J. Mosley, Nico Johnson. You got all these guys, Reggie Ragland. I seen you guys that highlight the other day coming across the middle of the field against Georgia, or Reuben Foster. There's so many guys they can pull from the past to help them, but there's really nothing you can do when you line up between the white lines. That's when it's going to make or break you. And what with a linebacker, that sometimes is your alpha dog. That's the guy that comes in and he really almost sets the tone for the defense. Now, I think personally we've got that in Bray Hubbard on the back end and our safeties, and the safeties is what's helping me sleep at night. If I just thought about my linebackers, I wouldn't get no sleep, but our safeties, our secondary, they're going to be just fine. But the middle linebackers, as you got to know, is really the cornerstone of the defense. I mean, that's the middle of the field. That's usually the alpha. That's even, a lot of people are talking about the quarterback situation. This is the quarterback of the defense. This is the guy that usually calls the plays. So this is really going to be a big spot going into our schedule. We started with Kentucky. We start out, I think, with Eastern Carolina. Then we got Kentucky. Then we've got Florida State. And then we're hitting the road hot, playing South Carolina, then Georgia, overnight. So we've got to go straight into it. Like we said with Chunk, trial by fire. That's how we're all going to be this year. Right. So it's just going to be up to Alabama to really hone into these linebackers and hopefully these other players, the safeties, the defensive line stepping up to maybe help. If this is a weak spot in the team, you've got to help. You've got to rally around and you've got to help these guys out. And, don't just dog them all the time, but if they mess up, help them up if they make a mistake. Help them when they get down, because there's going to be days when they're going to question, say, am I good enough? Well, you got to go to your brother in arms and you say, buddy, we got your back. We've got you, man. We got you. You just got to have my back. So that's the difference, I think, that they're going to have to find this year is their inside linebackers and just find that experience after week after week after week playing. And I think they're going to be okay. I really do. You got Kane Womack as our defensive coordinator. He'll have them in the right spot. But I do just worry about the experience side of it. So what do you think, Michael? What's your thoughts on middle linebacker situation?
Well, I don't know, man. I just feel like Alabama's like a powerhouse program, kind of like, Georgia, Alabama. They've all been in that same category when it comes to just getting these guys that want to come to Georgia, they want to come to Alabama, they want to come to these teams that they know they're going to be elite. Even with Nick Saban retiring, I feel like Alabama still has that name. So to me, it's like whatever guy comes in to fill that role, I think they're going to be all right. I really do. Whoever it is, if you're a linebacker for the University of Alabama, Tennessee, or Georgia, you're pretty good.
You're pretty elite. That's right. There is a difference. There is like I just said, the word elite. There's a difference in being good and being elite. If you want to be a national championship contender at every position, you have to be elite.
Yeah.
Good enough is not good enough. You have to take that next step. So we got to find those guys that are ready to do that. That's the biggest key. In all of our schools, I want my team to go win the Natty, and I'm sure you guys would say the same thing. So this is like the position of mine that I'm like, man, if we don't get the right guy, if we don't get the right player, that really it could be a very, very glaring spot and hole in that defense. When you have other talent around them that, man, they're going to be just fine. Yonzé Pierre's coming back. Like I said, Xavier Brown's coming back. Dijon Lee, all those great players are there. But if you have this one weak point, you got a Josh Heupel, you got a Kirby Smart, you got all these teams. We got Lane Kiffin on the schedule. We got all these teams that are going to try to find any help or any hole they can find, and they're going to execute on your team. And this is the point where I'm like, man, because can you imagine getting Bishop lined up on a linebacker? That's what they want. And if you get a linebacker that may be right out of position, well, if you get Bishop with Tennessee, man, he gets that ball, he's gone to the house. So if you could that one mistake could cost you an entire game.
I can't agree with you, even anymore, Adam, is those linebackers, they run the defense, buddy. They lock it down. They hold it together. And like you said with Tennessee, brother, I wouldn't be too concerned about y'all safeties and cornerbacks because remember last year that pick six down there at the 5-yard line, boy, I was so heated. we tailgated down there. Well, I was
Yeah.
hot, but I couldn't agree with you anymore about those linebackers, buddy. It's just, Alabama, they got to do something there. They got to
Yeah.
establish those linebackers, before any other big explosive play running teams like Tennessee, or Ohio State. They just got to get it together before they play them. But
Yeah. Biggest thing is just effort. I mean, go out there with some effort. There was times last year where even these studs, Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson, all these guys. I mean, if y'all guys remember back to the Florida State game, buddy, people wanted to burn Tuscaloosa to the ground.
Yeah.
And it was one word that you heard all week was effort.
Yeah.
It's, people just weren't running to the ball.
Yeah, and the guy you just talked about, the safety, Bray, what was his name? Bray Hubbard.
Bray Hubbard.
Hubbard.
Put some respect on that name, son.
Well, they called him out. They called him out quite a bit.
Did.
They said, man, I felt like he didn't go after the ball for nothing. And then, of course, all that changed when he played Tennessee and Georgia in the regular season, that is. Yeah. But, I was like, man, that was a big-time guy that it's like, what happened to the dude? Because he's a go-getter. And he seemed like there was clips you would see that it's like, man, he wasn't going after the ball. The guy would run right by him. But yeah, you're right. If those guys that y'all have got coming in just buy into the program and put the effort in that's expected at a team like our teams, then they'll be okay. But you're right. You got to put in that effort, man, and you got to have that work ethic.
Yeah, that's right. You just got to go out there and go 100%.
Yeah.
If you're going to fail at going 100%.